to another session of the EYP Masterclass series. We have just a couple minutes before we get started. So if you're just tuning in, type in the chat where you're calling from. See, some of you are, your names are Canada, UK. Welcome, welcome. If you're watching the replay, skip ahead 2 minutes. Just getting set up here. We are joined by Patricia today to go over support pose. Support for those who support others and yourself. This is going to be how to look after yourself sustainably. Welcome.
Welcome.
How many sessions?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Patty. I was just asking how many sessions everyone has attended. It's the last day of live classes. 5? Katie did. Megan did. 6. This is the 3rd to the last session today. We have a couple more to go. Replays are available all weekend though, so.
16. Oh, wow. 16 out of what, 20? What number? No, maybe 25. What's the session today? Does anyone know? But that's like a lot.
I think this one's 25 for this week because there's 28 total. Yeah.
28, wow.
Well,
Lisa, great. I'm just reading that you purchased a full upgrade. Very excited. I'm excited too for you. Attended about 5. Wanted to ask if Patricia, if she wanted to work with me. Sure, definitely. You added me on Facebook, right, Lisa? Yeah, we can talk over there, through there. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for reaching out.
We are on time, so we will get started. Welcome everyone here in the Zoom room. Welcome those on live stream. Welcome Facebook. Welcome YouTube. Welcome replay people. We're so happy to have you for this session of the Embodied Yoga Principles Masterclass series. Today we have with us Patricia Aguirre. She is a beautiful Mexican EYP teacher joining us today to go over support pose. So we would love it if you are here in the Zoom room. I see most of you do have your camera on, but if you don't want to turn your camera on, that's okay. But we encourage you to turn your camera on so that we can see you and Patty can interact with you so we can get feedback on how this class is going for you. If you're on live stream, don't worry, we can't see your camera, we can't see you, but we can see the chat. So please feel free to add questions, comments, things in the chat as we go, and we'll get to them throughout the session, and we hopefully will have some time for questions at the end. The session is an hour long and will cover support pose, those of you who support others, and how to support yourself sustainably. At the end of this call, we will announce the winner of the social media competition. We found a winner, so free entrance into the course. We'll announce that at the end, so stay tuned. Let's see. All of these trainings, whether personal, whether you're here for personal growth or whether you're here as a coach to use EYP in your coaching practice or EYP in your yoga practice, it will be Patricia's job, Patty's job, to go over all the ways this pose and this system can be used in these different lines of work. So put in the chat now what you're here to gain. If you're here as a coach and you're wanting to add another toolkit to your coaching practice with your clients, or if you're here as a teacher, if you're just here for personal growth for yourself, type that in the chat now. We'd like to see what kind of crowd we have here today, so Patty can get a good idea. And this system, good. Steve put in the chat here that all of these trainings, we are having a special right now. New coach, good. We have an EYP for coaches package, EYP for personal growth package 2 for the personal growth. Good, yeah. EYP for daily use, therapy work, nice. Okay. So we are having a special right now on these different trainings, EYP trainings. So now is the time to enroll if you're interested in adding EYP to your practice. And anyone who buys any of these packages will get these masterclass series recordings included in the package, as well as, all the recordings. EYP for coaches, you get coaching demo videos, which is really, really cool to see ways EYP has been used with one-on-one clients. This is the dashboard, of the different courses here that Steve is showing us. You get technical videos, experiential videos, coaching demonstrations, and the instructions on how to certify. And then once you do certify, once you finish the teacher training course, you get added onto our EYP database. You get listed as a teacher, a global teacher, so people can reach out to you. We have monthly community calls. So you get to join our private community calls and ask all sorts of questions about how to use it in your work. You get tons of support. And I'm sure some of you here in the Zoom room even are regulars. And so you can already tell, like, we have a sense of community already, and people keep saying they love this community, the EYP community. Lots of variations that you can use this work in lots of different modalities. And we'd really love to see the way you use it and take it into your work. So now is the time if you have any questions to enroll in the training. Specials going on through next week. And if you have any questions for Patty as we go out through this lesson, we will get to them at the end. So again, I will introduce Patricia. Patricia is an EYP teacher. She's a family constellations therapist, and she is a dear, dear friend of mine who really has such warmth whenever she presents, and such compassion, and just embodies love, I think. And so she is here to support us today as we learn this pose. And again, if you have any questions, please, we will get to that question at the end about the course. Yeah, thank you, Heidi. And Patty, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, Sarah. I always love your introductions, and definitely the love is mutual. Welcome, welcome everyone. I love to see now familiar faces. We've been seeing each other throughout the week. And I've seen that some people are becoming quite the fans. So I've seen people who said they attended 16 sessions, 15, 16. 16 tends to be an average here today. Is this someone's first session? Oh, welcome. Welcome. Great. I love to have all of the spectrum, right? So people who are already a lot, who've been close to EYP now throughout the week, but we can also use the idea of the fresh start. And actually EYP, I mean, most of you know by far, and if this is your first time here, you'll get to know this pretty quickly. What we use is poses that are like specifically designed to activate a state in the body. And that state is associated with, we call it an archetype. I usually also call it an aspect or a concept in life, like giving, receiving, no, yes, openness. Today we're gonna explore support. And one of the things that I love is that EYP and working through the body allows us to explore it as if it was the first time you approach the concept of support or whatever, because it's not the same thing. And all of you might know what I'm talking about when I say, when you think of, entering, which Mark taught earlier on in the week, when you're waking up, right? When you have all of your energy available, when you have a fresh mind, and it's not the same to think about entering maybe at night generally. I know sometimes things shift, right? But as our bodies shift as well throughout the day, throughout the month, throughout the week, throughout the seasons, throughout certain periods in our lives, it's great to be able to come to the pose with that fresh perspective. And this is one of the things that I like with working in EYP with the body, that there's no way to run from what's there, right? So you guys who have already seen these, you might already know what we're talking about. So just a few comments about EYP in general. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just reading the message. It's okay if you want to have your camera off. Of course, we always invite you to have your camera on because we love to see you and the interaction gets juicier and better. But of course, you're free, and consent is an important aspect of EYP. So you can choose to have your camera on or off. And I also encourage you to choose when we're doing the pose to calibrate how much you want to get into the pose, how deep you want to go. And this is something, if you haven't experienced it, you will know that is something that you can actually do fairly easy. So play with yourself, be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself. EYP seems like a very simple thing because we're just like moving our body in like a particular pose as if we were, in a photo shoot or something like that. But it's actually very deep and it's actually very revealing. So be mindful that even though it might look simple, there's actually a lot of things going on. And it can also have a lingering effect even after we're done with the session. So how are we energy-wise? How available do you feel to do what we're gonna do right now? And it's okay if you don't feel as available. Sometimes I have a lot of things in my mind, or sometimes I'm tired, or sometimes I've been having 16 EYP sessions in a week, and I'm sort of like processing a lot of stuff already. So from 1 to 10, where are you energy-wise? 6, 7, 5, 6, great, yeah. That I sort of like expected that because we're towards the end of the week, yeah. The great thing is support is a grounding, and it has a very nice grounding element. So we're gonna be able to handle this very well. Wonderful. I'm just reading 7, 6, 7. Yeah, great. And we're gonna have a nice finish to the session that's gonna fit perfectly well to these 6 and 7 levels of energy. So let's take a second to tune into what's happening in our bodies. So just a second ago, your energy was more towards the screen, your attention, your availability, your hearing, your sight. And now we're going to shift that a little bit towards you. As if you're going on a date with yourself. And what's one thing we want our dates to ask us? How are you, right? What's happening for you? And what we're doing with this exercise is finding a word. And try to see if you find a word to define your state at this moment. And say it. You can write it in the chat, but you can also just say it to yourself, and that's fine. Thank you, Steve. And check out what the effect of stating it does. What's the effect? Someone wrote rushed. What does it feel to state it? I feel rushed. Ready to cocoon. Notice what's happening in your body as you're starting to wonder about yourself, to look at yourself, to feel seen by you. One of the things that I heard one of my greatest teachers say once is sometimes particularly when we identify with the more yin energy in our bodies. It's like when someone asks us, how are you right now? He says, well, you feel one thing when you ask that, another thing when you're answering it, and a different thing after you've answered. And that's beautiful. I mean, I know that might sound crazy to some, but that's so real, right? More aliveness when I say I'm tired. Yeah, when we state it, when we state our state. That's a beautiful grounding exercise that you can take anywhere. You don't have to start breathing in a certain way, or you don't have to move in a certain way. You can just do like, what's really happening? Okay, now I see that. And it creates a certain state in our nervous system. It's stimulating to be seen by me. I love that. Thank you. Yes, beautifully written. Okay, so we're going to be starting with support pose. And I would love to know about you and what do you associate with support? What's the thing that comes to your mind when you think of support? And like I always say, this is not a test. This is just getting to know you, your mind, friends and family, care for others, lack of, held, leaning on others, being heard, family, release, nature. And also, you can keep typing words if they come, and also add if you would like, do you think you need more of this to give or to receive support? Not being alone, care, family, someone needing something, like that call, right? Peace, more of both, to be supportive and to get support, like both. Need to know how to ask for it. Definitely need more, need to receive more. Listening is my support. To be listened to, you mean? Both and balance. Yes. Wonderful. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the pose, no context, because I want to explore that rawness, right? Sometimes we can use EYP poses with some context. I've done that in particularly when I facilitated sensuality. I gave a lot of context before we got into the pose. But today we can use this pose, support pose is a friendly pose to do this. We're gonna go ahead and see the rawness of what's in the body. And then we're gonna go back, share a little, debriefing, and then we're gonna go back and add context to explore a little deeper, okay? So if you wanna join me, standing up. And let me adjust this for one. Yes, there you go. So for support, we wanna find a straight line. Usually other poses have one foot forward or backwards, but these one feet are on a straight line and they're pretty wide open. I'm not gonna say how much because this is gonna be decided by you in a second, because we're gonna be bending our knees to create a base of support. So see what I did there? I had to open my knees a little bit more, so I had to shift the width between my feet. So explore, first off, explore where your hips wanna sink in so that you feel that you can stay here for a couple of minutes. There's no particular position for the knee as we would do in regular yoga. What I would suggest is find a comfortable position, as comfortable as this can be, but just where you feel sort of like balanced or grounded, or just the sense that you can stay here for a couple of seconds. If this is too much, maybe you have a knee thing or your legs feel a little bit weak at some point, it's okay to stretch out your legs. That's fine. You can come back at some point. And if you have, for those of you watching the recording, because I can see everyone standing up, but also for those on the live stream, if you have knee issues, you can do this on the edge. I'm going to show it on the edge of your chair. You could also do it fully backwards, but you don't get the same sense of support from the legs and the knees. So that's one variation that you can go to. So we've done the feet, the legs, the hips. Now the arms are gonna come up. Elbows are bent. And palms are looking up. So welcome to support pose. Just notice if maybe your feet, if they're a little bit too close together, you might not be able to sink in as much. So maybe explore, yeah, if you wanna, because that allows you to sink your hips a little bit. And again, you can rest at any point if you're feeling some physical sensations that are uncomfortable. Allow yourself to breathe into the pose for a couple of seconds. And start noticing what's happening in the body. For sure, this is not something that we physically do during the day, or maybe depending on what you do, right? So it might feel awkward, but try to notice if it's like a physical awkwardness because I don't regularly stand like this, or is it more like an internal thing that what's happening in the body that doesn't feel comfortable with the idea of being in support, which is a little bit different from the physical sensation, right? So keys in the body to notice, how are the arms? Are they starting to get like super heavy? The shoulders? Or do you not notice that there's weight on your shoulders at all? Like, I'm so used to being here, I could stand here all day. And this takes me to the next question. Does this feel familiar? How much of your day are you in this state? Just sometimes, just with some people, only for certain activities, or I feel like this throughout the day. Some of us even take our daily poses to our sleep time, right? And we sleep with our shoulders clenched, with our jaws clenched. So what's happening? Do you feel the need to get out of it already? Because I don't like the idea of being so supportive, holding something. Or do I feel like, yeah, I can do this? Do you feel comfort because it's familiar? Or do you feel comfort because it's part of your nature to stand? It's something I like to do. Okay, let's take one big breath to get out of the pose. Maybe shake it out a little bit because it does get some weight stuck on the shoulder. And let's come back to the screen for a little sharing. You don't have to, but if you're feeling it, you can share one or two short lines of something that came up, something that you discovered, something that you already knew, but you just confirmed it. What came up? I wanted to throw off everything I'm supporting. Great. We're gonna get a chance to explore those fears in a while. It felt familiar. I feel like I am in this pose all day. Then a kid came and asked for help with something. Just in case you had a doubt of what was going on with the pose. I discovered too much of this in my life. I need to take care of me. Yeah. My everyday, not sure I feel really comfortable though. Yeah, that can happen, right? I feel the groundedness in my legs and pelvis. Familiar, felt that this is just something that has to be done. Great. A bit of swaying back and forth, and wrist forearms were painful. It felt like I needed a rest for my arms, not my legs. Glad I have been doing squats. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna be doing some. So this counts as your workout. I'll give you a free pass for the day. It felt exhausting, too familiar. Many of us know that feeling, right? Recognize supporting others. Yeah. I love it that with support posts in particular, we get all sorts of states. Like people are experiencing it so many different ways, right? Like something I do, but I don't like. Something that I like and I do. Something that I do, but I don't want to do anymore. So lots of ways that we live support. And like I said, our context and our life context has a lot to do with how we live the post. So if you're like with a newborn, you're on support mode, literally even in your sleep. And there's like no way around it. Like, we could romanticize with, yeah, letting go and allow people to be responsible for themselves. But if you're caring for a little child, it's like, I mean, yeah, there's no way. Yeah. I see some faces that I know from your reaction that you've been there. Yeah. It's like, yeah. So lots of ways to experience that, right? You might think of some people, or even you have felt that at some point yourself, that you wanna not have that responsibility, and it's sort of like avoiding it, which is also something to observe. This might be part of a process, right? I mean, I have done that when you were on an extreme of life and then you want to go to the other without finding balance. So now I don't take care of anyone, and everyone should be doing what, like, yeah, I remember my mother at some point, she was like, I'm not making breakfast for anyone ever again, like, and I'm like, but how do I, like, I had no idea, so it's great to do that, to take that step. But I mean, I even encourage you, it's okay to go to the extreme, but know that we are not on the extreme, and people are maybe going crazy around you trying to find cereal. Okay. I've been doing this too long for others. Arms feel very heavy. It became heavy, but my body adjusted, felt familiar. So all of this can be observed and judged by ourselves. It doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily something either good or bad, right? So I can adjust into support. It's like I will always be able to care for more, I'm going to be beyond my needs and my limits. Or is it I have this ability to adapt and I can do it because I have that extra thing? I don't know. And that's the thing about EYP. We get to experience it on our own, by our own standards, and we know what we're doing, right? The body allows us for that information to come right away. Great. Okay, let's go back to standing. So if you might have been there for care pose, were any of you there for care pose? I think it was Erica who facilitated that pose. If not, I would recommend you. Great, I see some hands being raised. Okay, so care pose, one foot, either one, goes forward. Knees are slightly bent. We don't get to bend them as much as we just did for support. And then, I'm sorry, they're a little bit wide apart so that you can create, this is also has like a base, that feeling of stability. So it's 50-50 of our weight on each one of our legs. Our arms come up, they're rounded. I'm gonna shift so that you can see me, as if I was holding something in between my arms. And there's a space about a book with a part in my hands. So this is caring or care. And notice how your body is feeling into the pose. Do you find a soft version of the pose? Or is it also creating tension on your arms? And your shoulders? And now think of those who you care for. Caring for your loved ones, for people close to you. How does this feel when you bring that into your pose? Is there a little bit of dread or tiredness? Or is it joyful, loving? A little bit of both. And now let's shift back to support pose. So again, legs, feet wide, knees bent, elbows bent, arms looking out upwards. And when I think of supporting others, and you can name them in your mind, how is it supporting your children, if you have them, or some little dudes around you that you care for from time to time? Students, nieces, nephews, cousins, brothers, whatever. What's the quality of your support for this group of people? What about your partner supporting? If there is one, if there was one, at any point in your idea and your imagination, any type of partner. If that's not in your radar, it could be your business partner, maybe. How does that change from the group before? What do you think of when you think of caring for your parents? If you are going through that, if you went through that, or if you can think of doing that. How do your arms react to that idea of caring for your parents? What about caring for your projects? It's funny for me how you could just relax maybe a little bit, because I know that it's getting a little tired. But it's funny for me, that's one of the things that I always notice, how I think, oh, this is getting super heavy, I'm getting tired because we've been here for too many minutes. But then something light, like for me, I like caring for my projects. It's something that I usually connect with on a positive note. And then it's like the heaviness disappears. So it's one of the things that I really love watching in EYP, that, oh no, I cannot do it anymore. If I was thinking of my parents, that's usually heavy stuff, right? Usually, doesn't have to be for everyone. Okay, maybe take a second to shake it, because we're gonna go back. And we're gonna go back, but we're gonna do caring. So you can change your feet. You can start with your feet hip width apart. Take one forward, one backward. Bend your knees a bit. And again, it's like hugging and rounding. I'm gonna shift my computer, but go ahead and sink into your care pose. And now we're going to bring into mind the element of caring for us. So what we're caring for is ourselves. How does that feel? How are your arms reacting to the idea of caring for yourself? One of the things that care is, in this pose, we explore caring as in giving love, but also as in protecting. What elements are coming up in your body? Like for me in particular, I feel a little more heavy and grounded when I think of supporting others. And even when I enjoy supporting myself, it feels lighter. I feel that I could float away easily. I don't feel as synced in. So that's an exploration for me, right? Or if you, I mean, that's my experience, of course. Is this heavy for you though? Is there a part of your body that, okay, yeah, I can rest now. I gotta get out of it. I wanna run. That can happen. Okay, softly allow a couple of seconds of discharge of the heaviness in the body, because we're gonna go back to support pose. Again, feet wide, knees bent, elbows bent, palms looking upward. And now we support ourselves. What does this feel like? What are you doing through your body when you think of supporting yourself? Do you feel that you need more of this or less of this in your life? Is there a particular area in your life that you think that you need to take care of yourself more? Work, health, pleasure, enjoyment, family time, alone time. What could you support in your life? Either that needs it or that you want it to grow, that you want it to be supported. And a beautiful question that I personally love: who would benefit in your life by the fact that you're supporting yourself? Hmm. Okay. Softly get out of that and start allowing a little shake in your body to bring you back to a softer ease in your arms. And as you're coming back, allow this couple of seconds to be a space to process your own experience. I'm going to give you just a few seconds for that to start digesting. Great. Does anyone want to share something that came up that you would like to be heard in or state out loud for yourself on the chat? Something that you'd like to be reminded of after the session is over. That was a surprise, a rough one. Yeah. Care pose, taking care of myself. I wanted to hug myself. We're gonna get there. Felt good to have time for self-support. Yeah. I realized I didn't want to bend my knees or create a stable base for myself. Hmm. Caring feels beautiful and expansive. Just as I keep reading your comments, just be reminded that you're free to do whatever you want, but my recommendation is to be gentle with yourself and your discovery. You know, I work with kids and studied some stuff about education, and of course, I one of the people that I studied a lot was Maria Montessori. You might have heard of her, and all of her method, which is very popular here in Mexico, um, started from one observation. She usually observed children, and she found that she cared for children with special needs, and she saw that those who progressed more, um, maybe the word is efficiently and also faster, and could get like further ahead in their development, were kids who felt loved, who felt supported. And I don't think that only pertains to kids, right? We might also get further when we observe ourselves with care, with respect. Love is not necessarily um, being condescending, right? Caring for myself felt soft and loving, really enjoyed caring pose and felt like I was hugging a fluffy cloud. Yes. Supporting was hard on my shoulders and right neck, arm. I gave away so much for others, it is difficult to support myself. Thank you for sharing that. It made me cry to feel I urgently need to support myself. Thank you. Caring posts related to children made me feel sad. My daughter studies abroad, didn't hug her for 10 months. A wonderful feeling of flow and bliss in the arms in the care pose. Care pose felt more stable, maybe the footing. Yeah. Distinguishing between care and support for others and then for oneself revealed very helpful subconscious patterns. Thank you. I'm glad you find that useful. Very interesting how different it felt when thinking of different people. Yes, yes. That's the beauty of the guidance that you can use in EYP, that you can get into those subtleties, and it's just not just care in general or support in general, but all of these nuances that make your life experience. Yeah. I found I didn't push my hands to be flat support, stayed as service and not move into servitude. Yes, lovely. Thank you, Stephanie, for sharing that. Definitely make your own adjustments. Definitely explore it. This is your own. I noticed when doing care pose, thinking of others, my hands got closer together over time. When I was in the pose thinking of myself, I noticed the hands ended further apart. Great insights. I know now I need more self-support and care. Thinking of supporting myself, I brought my lower arms closer. That's it. Closer to my body, and it felt more self-supporting. Great. We're gonna get there. We're getting closer to your body. Do you feel that? It feels so much easier to support and care for others than to rely support and care for myself. Yeah, that's very common. By the last thing, I more discussed the right to do so. It is good to feel it's now clear. Love looking after myself. Still a lot of tightness. Great. Wonderful. Okay. Are you feeling that that tightness from staying there and from going through that is a little bit calmer now? So we can go back to the pose? So maybe work those shoulders a little bit, those arms. Allow some rest, some easy movement, and tell your body through your mind that let's get ready because we're gonna get into it again. Great. Okay. Okay, let's go to it. We're gonna go into care. again. Let me lift this a little bit again. Okay. You might not be able to see my feet, but you know the pose by now. So feet wide apart, bending the knees, sinking, allowing the hips to find that beautiful place in between your legs so that it sinks in relatively comfortably. Elbows are bent and hands, palms are looking upwards. What's happening in my body now that I've done this for the fourth time today? What am I proud of supporting? What are things that I love supporting? Yeah. What do you connect to? What do you learn about yourself when you find that you love to support something, that you even find pride in doing them, that it's an expression of your love? And when it gets heavy, when the supporting gets heavy, as you might have touched on different subjects, all of you, from what you shared, maybe things that I really cannot run away from, that I have to support, responsibilities that I cannot leave. Notice how your body might be responding to that already. And let's explore, how could I find a little bit more ease in that support? What would that look like? Is it a shift in something in my body? Or is it a shift in my state? What can I do to find ease in supporting that which is heavy? And find that softness all through your arms to get out of the pose. And now let's go. You have two options here. You can find a wall, or you can find a place to sit. You can work. I encourage you to explore the wall, because we're going to be working with the back. And I don't have to see you on screen, but you do have to hear me because I'll be guiding you. And again, if you don't have a wall that you can use, you could use the back of your chair. Just make sure your back is touching the back of a chair. And it could be just like a ledge, as I'm using right now. So it's not necessarily an entire wall in case you don't have one close. Great. And allow your back to touch that part of the wall. Make sure your feet are, again, having like a stance that can help you feel supported. Knees are bent, and then we're taking our back towards the wall. So knees are bent. I'm going to shift my camera so that you can see what's happening with the legs. Sort of like leaning on something. Make sure you adjust your knees to something that's that cares for your joints. And notice what happens as we are coming into the pose of feeling supported by the wall. This is something that I use very often in coaching settings because it's really something that's needed by many of us. And a wall is something that's easy to have close to you. So notice what happens like the first few seconds that we get into the pose. And as we stay here a little bit longer, what's happening? How is this for you? Is it comfortable? Is it not comfortable? Is it something that you need? Or is there a way that you might be doing this a little bit too much in your life? Notice how your body responds or how to lengthenize this. Notice what you are doing through your body as you allow yourself to be in the pose. And as you are there, whether it's been comfortable or not, ask yourself, what are my supports in life? What are resources that I have that I can find support in? Is it people? One, two, more people? Is it a place? My house, my school, my work, whatever? How do I feel when I bring these people to my attention or these resources? What things from my past support me today? What other resources do I have that I am relying on? Things that I like, things that I enjoy, things that nurture me. It could be even like watching the apple tree through my window every morning. For me, it's super resourceful. That's super resourceful. Incredibly resourceful, I should say. It could be something deep and nourishing and thoughtful, or it could be like sometimes I really need to watch like the simplest and like the dumbest TV show ever. And that's super resourceful many times during my week. What are your resources? And lastly, what's a resource that's been holding you that you hadn't noticed? And before we start coming out of the pose, I do this in yoga classes. Take a screenshot of the way that you're feeling right now. And I'm just going to give you a couple of seconds on your own to enjoy this or not enjoy this and learn from it and get insights, whatever happens. And for closing, take a step away from the wall. And Sarah, as I see you're sitting, you might want to stand up for this. Yeah. And those things that I'm ready to let go of, that I'm supporting, that I don't have to, we're going to go into letting go pose, which is leaning forward, allowing our arms to hang down towards the floor. And slowly come up, take a refreshing breath, and allow yourself to come back to the screen.
Thank you, Patricia. That was beautiful. How all do you feel? Type in the chat now what you really liked about that. What kind of insights you took away. We contrasted with a few other EYP poses there. Yeah, what did you get from that session? We're still processing, I think. You can see how much more clear in my head. Good, good. Yeah, these insights that can happen really fast from working with the body can change our lives personally, which means they can change other lives too. And you all are facilitators and leaders in your own work. Yeah, Patty, we'll come back to you in a couple minutes, but let's talk about the trainings that are coming up. So like I was just saying, that these changes that you can see in yourselves, and you can help other people with working with coaching and using this work in classes, even allowing people to have more insight just in regular yoga classes, other kinds of movement classes, giving clear structure, lots of insight. Good. If you would like to support us for putting on this free event, head over to the EYP trainings that are going on for personal growth, EYP for coaches or EYP for teachers. And let's, Steve, do you have that video? We can watch a couple minutes on all the different ways EYP can be used in facilitation. Let's check this out.
If you're a coach that's looking for a deeper approach to working with your clients, then this will be the course for you. And what the EYP course for coaches has to offer you is a way to shift things from getting stuck in the head and getting into the body, and really revealing some deeper psychological layers of what might be happening, what's triggering your client to maybe not make the progress that you want them to make, maybe even helping them with boundaries or where they're lacking in leadership or where they need more leadership. And so what the EYP system does is it uses very simple forms. You don't have to have any sort of physical background. It's non-athletic. These very simple forms can be done in normal clothing, in any setting, anywhere, and you can then begin to look at the patterns that might be keeping your clients stuck. As a coach, I use this mostly with my clients with intimacy and relationship and communication, and as soon as I get them to move from the cerebral part of the conversation and getting them down and into their body, boom, immediately they have things that they can take away.
Yeah, have more self-belief and see yourself as you see other people, because I have a very critical eye at the moment.
You also have a whole range of tools to help them change state, build range. Maybe you have a client who isn't so great at being seen, taking up space in the sphere that they're working in. So you have some tools to help them to begin building that range, to begin anchoring it into their body. It also is great homework for your client, prescribing these as homework that they can do in their own time. You don't have to have any experience of working with the body. You're going to get get very detailed videos of how to set up each of the 26 forms. You'll have lots of examples as well of how you can incorporate this into coaching and different coaching scenarios and environments. So when you sign up, you're not going to be left alone with this. There's plenty of support available to you. We have a private Facebook group that you are welcome to join. We have monthly Q&A calls, and on those calls, that's where you really get to know the community, so you get a lot of ideas of how other people are using the same things.
Getting comfortable making an offer.
It's like overwhelming me a bit.
Miles coming in now, your eyes are changing, huh?
What this program offers you is an arsenal of embodied tools. You'll also have concrete examples of how you can begin seamlessly incorporating this into your existing coaching practice.
Beautiful. I love that video because every time it's like, wow, this has changed my life. It's changed our days alone, or just this class alone has shifted our own lives too. So we would love it if, as a thank you for putting on this free event, you would go check out the specials that we are offering on the EYP trainings. It's a lovely community. That's how Patty and I met. It's how we continue to do this work all over the world and meet wonderful people like you. So thank you so much for being here today. Steve just put in the chat a survey. So we're gathering feedback on how you guys liked this week. And yeah, if you feel called, we'd be grateful if you can share what you loved about this class. And before I announce the winner of the course, Patty, do you have a final tip for us about support pose?
Enjoy yourself. Be gentle to yourself. At the end of the day, we're doing all of these to be able to enjoy life just a bit more. So that's my invitation.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The next session coming up is warrior pose, so stick around for that. And then the session after that, Patricia will be back with us for self-care pose. So that video that we just saw, she was doing self-care. Yeah, warrior pose, live with fierceness. And then self-care is the last live session of this week. So please, everyone tune in for that, for some self-care. And the moment you've all been waiting for, the winner of the spot on the free training is Lee Fowler Sloss. So I will be reaching out to you. You have the option of whatever package you want to do, the training, teacher training, or the coaching package. And this was a question earlier, I'll answer real quick. The difference in the teacher training, the coaching course has coaching demos, but the teacher course goes further into group dynamics and how to adjust the work for different people within a group class, trauma awareness, all of the work is trauma informed, marketing, how to share what you know with and how to market it properly as EYP, and then partner work as well, as opposed to coaching just being one-on-one. So thank you everyone for being here today. We're on time. It's self-paced. It's self-paced courses. The group format is with the monthly calls. So you do have the group, you still have the community that you'll meet with, but for the most part, it's self-paced at your own time. So the courses. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you so much, Patricia. It was a wonderful session.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone who joined. I'm glad it was of service from the comments that I just read, and everyone on the live stream and the recording. I wish you the best. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you.
Oh, gracias.
Bye. Thank you.
Gracias.
Adiós. Gracias.
Mm.